there, I'm Elizabeth from OurPaleoFamily.com, and Our Paleo Family is about to go camping. So I did this years ago, showing you kind of how we get ready for a camping trip, because it's something our family loves to do. I know a lot of you like to get out in the great outdoors as well, and but it's been a long time, so I thought I would do a refresher. And people ask me all the time, what's for dinner? That's number one. And number two is like, how do you eat when you travel? And we have been on this paleo journey, this health journey for a long time. And even me, I'm the one that has Crohn's disease. My husband has type 1 diabetes. So that is autoimmune, but it's not like some of the other autoimmune conditions. He still has to take insulin. He will have to take insulin. My kids eat paleo to try to keep them from getting an autoimmune condition. So I'm healthy, I'm in remission. I don't really even consider I have this disease anymore, but I know that it can come back. I got it. You know, my body is, I guess, tuned that way, and I don't want to go there again. Having active Crohn's disease is no fun. But thankfully, I'm at a place, I've done the hard work, that I'm healthy now, and I can splurge a little bit when we travel. However, it's limited splurging. For example, we might get ice cream. My husband and I will get a scoop of ice cream and we'll share it. So we're maybe eating a quarter of a cup of ice cream. So we're not going overboard, but we're getting to, that feels indulgent when you've come from a place of a strict elimination diet to be able to have a few bites of ice cream, some chocolate, that kind of thing. So let's get to it. I want to show you how we go camping. So this is a little bit of a bigger camping trip for us. We're going to be gone for 4 days. Okay, so first of all, these boxes. I love to keep everything neat and organized, or else you have stuff just flying all over the car. So we're talking about food primarily, but even with food, I will put in a box what I can. So I've gotten out most of the cold stuff, not all of it, just because it would be a lot for 4 days. But I'm going to go through our meals and what we're taking, okay? So let's talk about breakfast first. I have one 18-pack of eggs. So we'll have 3 mornings. We'll eat our first morning at home. Then we'll have lunch on the road, and then the rest of our meals will be camping. So we'll have 3 camping breakfasts. So 6 eggs for the 4 of us for each morning, which normally that would not be enough. I would do 2 eggs per person. But to go with it, one morning we have sausage. One morning we have bacon. This is a loaf of zucchini bread. So if you saw my any of my zucchini videos, we just had so many zucchini in the garden earlier this summer. So I made 1 loaf, I cut it in half just so it's easier to fit in the cooler. That way it gives me more flexibility. And also it's all ready. Hey, here's one morning, here's another morning. And one morning there is a coffee shop where we're going that makes gluten-free donuts. So I'll cook some eggs, and then somebody will run and go get some donuts. I didn't bring in my fruit. I have apples, I have clementines, I have little bottles of orange juice, I have a quart of milk, and of course my coffee. So those will be the breakfast. It'll be very consistent. Always eggs, always either the bread or the donuts, and then a meat. So like half the bacon, a little bit of sausage one day. I'll just kind of mix it up, whatever. And all the meats I keep in the freezer. That way they go in my cooler like an ice pack, right? So they are cold, and it helps keep all my stuff cold, and I don't need quite as much ice. And some sort of supplemental stuff. I have these cereal bars, some granola bars. These are some grain-free Paleo Caveman cinnamon raisin that I found. My kids love these, not the regular kind bars that have chocolate, but these are, well, I'm going to show them to you because this is one of my tips. Take everything out of the box if you can, just to reduce your packaging, and then you have less space. And a lot of places don't recycle, and this way you're at home, and if you recycle at home, you're able to put your recycling away. But this takes up so much less space than that big box. So these are these little bars. They're like a dense granola bar. There are 2 of them in here. This is the blueberry, almond, and there's a honey nut maybe. They're a little bit hard to find. They're really delicious. These are just the glutino, like the, gosh, I remember when they came out, the Nutri-Grain bars, and this was, you know, a healthy way to eat breakfast. So these are the gluten-free version, and just dump those in. And then, so these can go snack or they can go breakfast. And I'll tell you what, I have almost a 15-year-old son. He'll be 15 in just a couple weeks. And I've been saying for years, they say teenage boys just eat and eat and eat. When is that going to happen? My son doesn't eat very much. It is happening. He is eating constantly. But he's healthy and he's growing, and I'm fine with it. But I feel like this is an excessive amount of food, but I can guarantee you it will be eaten. So we have some extra stuff. Oh, here's my creamer, my Nut Pods caramel. So this is shelf stable until you open it, then it needs to go in the cooler. So I brought 2 of those because you just want to make sure you have enough. So that's breakfast. Lunch, every day, even the day we leave home, we'll probably do a hike on our way to the campground. And we love to just have lunch with us. We always have the cooler in the car because, you know, when you're camping, you shouldn't leave your food out because of wild animals. And so the cooler's always in the car. It's always with us. So we have lunch meat. We have lettuce. I like to have the romaine hearts so we can make roll-ups with the lunch meat. I have some cheese. We have carrot chips. We have baby spinach. I go ahead and prep what you can at home. So celery will last really well. I went ahead and cut my celery. We just had salad last night, so I have a few pieces of cucumber left. So somebody will eat those. I have one more thing to show you. I've talked about this before, but I don't know that I've ever shown you. These are the avocado mash from Costco. It's a pack of maybe 16 of these little cups. Each cup is 2 ounces. It's the perfect amount for a lunch or a snack with the carrots or the celery. It's really, really good. And it's just the organic avocado, organic lemon juice, salt, and pepper. So I'll throw a few of these in. Actually, they're expiring, so we need to eat them. But they're sealed, so this lid is right across the top, so it's not turning brown or anything. So those are lunches. We had a few little bits of chips left. These I got from Thrive Market as a free trial one time, and I love them. 4505 chicharrones. This is the chili and salt. There's also a smokehouse barbecue and a jalapeno cheddar. And I've had I've had the barbecue and this chili and salt. The chili and salt's my favorite. Occasionally you'll get one that's really spicy, but most of them are not too spicy. I don't really like super spicy stuff. But these are really good if you're doing keto or just kind of low carb. You want some low carb chips. So this is one of my other tips. Those were open. These were in my pantry. I'm bringing them along so they don't get stale. But this was a brand new bag of chips, and I just cut the top off, squeeze as much air out as possible, and go ahead and put the rubber band around it. That way, whether you use a chip clip or a rubber band, whatever, you have your chip clip already, and again, you're saving a ton of space. Another chip that's really fun, these are new on the scene, are these chicken chips. They're made out of chicken and cassava flour or tapioca flour. It's the same cassava root. You get tapioca or cassava, but they're processed differently. And it has maltodextrin and stuff because they have flavoring, but they're really good. And another low carb option. And I mean, seriously, it was brand new. That's how much air is in there. So squeeze that air out. And then cookies. So that would be lunch. Lunch meat with like the lettuce roll-ups, avocado, the apples. You know, the fruit is for breakfast, the fruit is for lunch. Just make sure we're getting some color in every meal. And then I've made some cookies, and I simply wrapped them really well in plastic wrap, plastic bags. And these have been in the refrigerator, but unless there's extra space in the cooler, I won't keep them in the cooler. So I made my molasses cookies, which that recipe's on the web. They're amazing. These are a new one I tried. These are a lemon raspberry pinwheel, and they're good. So they'll be on the web. And then these are my paleo graham crackers, which these are a little bit of a work in progress. So this recipe isn't ready to go up yet, but they're going to work okay for our s'mores. So we have some cookies for dessert as well. So that's lunch. And then dinner. So my son is a Boy Scout. He's this close to having his Eagle. He's done his project. He's just doing the paperwork. So he's had a lot of experience of camp cooking through his years in Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts. And so I tasked him with helping me think through the meals, the dinners, and I'm going to have him do some cooking. So one night we're having cowboy burgers. They're right here. I went ahead and made these. It's hamburger. You grind up some bacon, pickled jalapenos, salt, pepper, and some cheddar cheese all mixed into the burger, and we'll cook those in our skillet. So we have just a Coleman stove. There will be, you know, a fire ring for a campfire if you wanted to cook that way. We'll have our Dutch oven, but it's so much easier to cook on the propane stove. So we do most of our camp cooking on the propane stove. So one night we'll have burgers, no buns. We don't need to mess with that. Oh, my potatoes. If you saw my recipe with the Instant Pot potatoes, I'm going to bring those little tiny potatoes. We're just skipping the Instant Pot process. I'll just cook them in the skillet. I'll have to put a lid on so they'll kind of steam and cook through, and then they'll start to brown. And then I have some broccoli. And again, that broccoli will hold really well. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it, have it in a bag, so it will make cooking easier that night. And I have salt and pepper. The next night we're having very fancy hot dogs. We will have salad, and this bottle is for me to make some salad dressing, and then we'll have that. We'll have some chips, and my son is going to make cobbler, so I have a gluten-free yellow cake mix. I said just pick out some canned fruit. Well, we were at Aldi and they didn't have a lot, so we have fruit cocktail in fruit juice, and we have a can of cherry pie filling. So we're going to have a very sweet cobbler made out of those simple ingredients with some butter on top. Yes, I have to make sure you bring a stick of butter. Okay, so the first night's burger, second night's hot dogs. The third night we're having chicken. So I bought some chicken thighs. Whoops, I went ahead and cleaned them, cut them up, and those are in the freezer, and they'll be the last night, so they should be thawed by the time we're ready to go. My son wanted to do Cajun or sort of blackened, so I have my Cajun seasoning that I have made. I've made a Cajun sauce, and I have rice someplace. I have rice in here that's already measured out, so I know how much water I have to add to this. And we'll have the chicken again. Well, we may do that in the Dutch oven. There's always like a 50% chance of rain when we go camping. We are the rainmakers for sure. So if it's not raining, we may do the chicken in the Dutch oven, and then I'll have the stove to do the rice. And then we're just going to saute the vegetables, whatever veggies I have left. I'm bringing mushrooms, some squash, bell peppers, and I think that's it. And if I have carrots left from our lunches, we can do carrots too. So those are our camping meals. And if we get to that last morning and we're out of eggs or stuff, you know, it depends on how hot it is. Occasionally something goes bad. The cooler, it's just a cooler, it's not a refrigerator, right? And we may need to pick up a little bit more lunch meat. But we won't eat out. We might eat out like our very final meal when we're heading out of town, because there's a place. This is Boone, North Carolina, and it's called Coyote Kitchen, and they have a ton of gluten-free options. You can do dairy-free, you can do vegan. It's a great restaurant, and the food is really delicious. So we may kind of wink, wink, run out of food, so we have to eat out that last meal. But this is it. So reduce the packaging when you can. I did read recently in a Cook's Country or America's Test Kitchen, I can't remember. It's whatever the magazine is from that PBS show. You know, they always do science experiments related to food. And they were testing ice packs and just regular loose ice. And what worked the best at keeping food the proper temperature was just loose ice. So we'll just buy some bags of ice. We'll have everything iced down when we leave, and we'll have to replenish that. We'll get to make it through the second day, and then the third day we'll have to buy ice, and the fourth day we'll have to buy more ice, and then everything should be fine. We've never gotten food poisoning, knock on wood. So that's our camping. Reduce the packaging when you can. Keep stuff neat and tidy. Here's my chocolate for s'mores. Yes, we have a variety. I wanted to try this one made with monk fruit that's lower in sugar. This one I just like endangered species brand, so we bought that one. And my daughter said, oh, pretty please, can we have Hershey's? So I have a bar of Hershey's. So we have plenty of chocolate. Our friends will be there, so I'm sure we will host for some s'more making activities. So that's it. Let me know if you have questions. These are not really recipes so much, but I can certainly write up this post. You know, these are the meals that we had. This was our shopping list, if you would find that helpful. I hope you get out there in the great outdoors. It's a beautiful country. Go explore it. And I will tell you that I never, ever, ever in a million years thought I would be a camper. And we went that first time. My children were very little, like 4 and 6 maybe. And I was sold. There's just something about it. The fresh air, not having all the stuff of your house. I don't know. I can't even really explain it. But I love camping. I look forward to this trip every year. So that's it, everybody. Thanks for stopping by. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. Hit that bell so you'll get notified when I put up a new recipe. Please comment, introduce yourself. I'd love to get to know you on our little corner of the web. All right, see you next time.